r/Askreddit. Divorce attorneys have Reddit. What was the most stupid reason two people wanted to divorce? She saw a picture of him contra dancing he'd posted on Facebook. She knew he went contra dancing. That part wasn't the surprise. In fact, I'm still confused about this one. Because of wife's last name. After 10 years of happy marriage, she decided that she doesn't like her last name anymore. She took her husband's last name after wedding. Our legal system does not allow people to change their last name if there are kids involved. So she filed for divorce. Well, she had a dream she was going to hell. So she blamed that on him. She now teaches Catholicism just in case. I knew a couple who married super early and divorced so he could join the Naval Academy. Apparently you can't enter if you're married. They stayed together and remarried after he graduated. Kid got one elephant ride too many. Mom and dad agreed before dad took daughter to circus that one elephant ride should be plenty. Mom later finds out that dad let daughter have two, not one. As agreed. But two elephant rides. As mom would describe it, he's doubling down again. Trying to get her to hate me. I know it. Why the hell else is someone letting their kid ride an elephant halfway around the whole damn town? Everybody knows now. Not a divorce or a lawyer. But my ex years ago left me because I wanted chickens in the front yard. The conversation was something along the lines of how our futures just didn't line up. Turns out he was cheating. But you know. Blame it on the damn free range hens. It became a cherished phrase almost immediately. The wife got tired of being married to a transplant surgeon and wanted to be an S&M hooker. And yes, it turns out she had mental problems. Not a lawyer. But my dad's friend got divorced because they couldn't agree on what kind of house to buy. He wanted one with an apartment so they can have extra income, and she didn't want some stranger living in her house. So they split up over it. A couple in Australia threatened to divorce if gay marriage became legal. But surprise surprise, when it eventually became legal they didn't go through with it. An elderly friend of mine divorced his wife so she would qualify for Medicaid and could afford her treatment for a terminal illness. They'd been married 40 years and he had strong religious values about the sanctity of marriage. The state caseworker even visited the house to make sure he wasn't living there. In her last difficult days, our stupid greedy medical system was forcing them apart. He died broken-hearted and penniless not long after she passed. Every dime he had worked his lifetime to save either went to her medical bills or the unnecessary expense of keeping two households to get health insurance. In Italy, apparently you can save on taxes when buying first house for your own living. If you married, it counts as one for the couple. Some people are getting divorced when buying another house to save on taxes again. My client and his wife were into a role-playing game. I think Second Life. Everyone had an avatar. I suspect that his and his wife's were much more sprightly than they were in real life. Anyway, he suspected that she was being unfaithful to him in the game. So he created a fake avatar and stalked her in the game. Sure enough, she was running around on him, having virtual sex with another bloke, or bloke avatar anyway. That was it. If the reason told was stupid, most likely happened to be the straw that broke the camel's back and there were more serious underlying issues. No, but my dad stated in court that he was divorcing my mom because she was always asking him to take out the trash or mow the lawn or calling him at work to ask him to pick up milk. You know, adult stuff like maintaining a home and family. Her lawyer turned to her and just said, "You're dodging a bullet here. Someday you'll be glad he left." Turned out he was cheating on her. My mom made a very good life for herself. At 71 years old she can afford a house cleaning service and pays someone to maintain her lawn. Calm as a bitch. Weird Al Yankovic got divorced when his wife joined the Columbia Record Club. He couldn't handle that kind of commitment. The husband wants to vaccinate the child while the mother is against it. Should have fled serious. She didn't want to pay for part of the health insurance bill. A much older woman, who had been married for a very long time, told me that one morning over breakfast, out of the blue, she had a burning desire to pick up her butter knife and stab her husband to death. She took that as a sign that maybe their relationship was toxic. They got married. share lasted just a bit over a week with Greg Allman before she filed for divorce. Eventually reconciled, but in the end they divorced. She filed because of his drug addiction. Something she should have had insight about if she had taken the time to actually get to know who he was before making the decision to marry. Instead she married him after just over 3 days of being divorced to Sonny Bono. Imagine that. This the type of shit that goes on YouTube. Obligatory not a lawyer. But a lawyer I know got a case because the husband didn't change his Facebook status to married quickly enough after the wedding. It was like 2 weeks. The judge laughed at the lady and made them get marriage counseling. Lawyer pocketed north of $1,000 for that. There's not really a good answer to your question. I've had tons of clients who got divorced over all sorts of fucked up and really good reasons. I haven't had one where the reason given was just absolutely petty and pointless. It's an expensive, very public, and drawn out process. Almost no one gets divorced on a whim. So back in the pre-iPhone era, there was a newly married couple in my apartment building. Maybe 3-4 months in, I come home and hear them fighting about what the exact time is. Like one was saying it's 8:15 and the other was like no it's 8:13. So the next day the guy just walked out and I never saw him again. Later I found out they got divorced over some silly fight. My ex-wife. I was repairing a pipe in the bathroom sink. I tell her, please give me a glass. I need to drink water from the sink tap. She screams, are you crazy? Go to the kitchen fountain. The water in the bathroom fountain, you never have to drink it. She believed that all over the world we had 2 types of water and double pipes that carry 2 types of water in each house. One for the kitchen and one for the bathroom. I know a couple that wanted a divorce after 35 years because one of them were not happy with who their son was dating. People, man. Proof that even time can't heal stupidity. Not a divorce attorney but still know this. Husband fapping to a German PRN. She wanted the divorce not because he watched PRN but because the person he was fapping to did not have nice tits. My divorce. I left him because he was boring. There's not really a stupid reason. If the reason is stupid then you obviously don't love them and that's a good reason. Not an attorney. But my aunt divorced her husband because he snored. That's what she told us. Anyway. They had been together for 15 years so I'm not sure why it took so long to figure out it was a deal breaker. This question doesn't make sense to me. There are no stupid reasons people get divorced. If someone divorces over their spouse liking the wrong TV shows, it has nothing to do with the TV shows. Their reason for divorce is they aren't in love with this person and don't want to be married to them anymore. And that's a great reason to divorce. I'm going through a divorce right now. I just didn't want to be married anymore, don't love him anymore. I have a friend who used to be a security guard at a courthouse. He said one time he had to watch over a divorce proceeding between a 80-year-old man and his 40-year-old Vietnam wife. She said, in broken English, she wanted to divorce him because he couldn't satisfy her anymore. During the beginning of the case she would yell mean things about this guy and the judge had to constantly tell her to be quiet. The old man never said a word. Eventually the judge said we will have to continue on a future date. She immediately said then forget it, got up and walked out of the courtroom. Actually listening to someone on relationship advice, right? JKS, I know it's not all bad. Either stupid or brilliant depending on your perspective. But husband was getting sick of his wife and also having an extramarital affair. So he pretended to go bankrupt to try to induce her to leave him. Wife got pretty pissed off, but decided to try to help him out with his failing business instead. Husband then revealed it was all a ruse and he had just been testing his wife. Hardy ha, he didn't actually want to separate anymore. Wife got genuinely pissed off and decided to initiate a divorce due to his overall deceitfulness. Husband then attempted to hide assets during the separation process. But their daughter ratted him out because, you know, fuck that guy and all. Wife therefore cleaned husband out during the separation. Significant spousal and child support plus 2.5 out of 3 properties. Husband also lost his mistress due to, well, now actually being semi-broke. Or at least broke for a supposedly rich guy. Wife remarried shortly afterward. Just bumping for the good answers coming to this thread. My friend's parents divorced because his mother wanted a horse. His father argued that they can't keep a horse in a 6th floor apartment and don't have enough resources or money to rent a stable. Then she fucked her son's math teacher and became a crackhead. I feel sorry for everyone involved. I know this isn't the reason for the divorce. Sorry. But it made me wonder what precipitated the divorce since it was so paranoid. My sister worked for a divorce attorney, and she had to field a couple of phone calls from a guy in the midst of a messy divorce. He insisted that his ex was putting rocks on his lawn to mess with the lawnmower, and he was trying to somehow add that to the divorce proceedings. I'm not a divorce attorney, but my former subordinate got divorced over Pokemon cards. At one point during the separation she came to work to accuse him of stealing some of her heirs. It got near physical and we had to have security forces remove the spouse so we could get back to work. They were a hot mess. Not an attorney, but my mom is a paralegal. There was one case that kept dragging along because they were fighting over the luggage. Once that was settled they started arguing over a $25 plastic palm tree. That palm tree prompted the case to go into mediation, costing both of them around $1,000 each just for the mediation. Back in 1996 a woman filed for divorce, seemingly out of nowhere, to end her marriage of 25 years. 2 years later her ex-husband received a letter in the mail about her lump sum lottery winnings. Turns out that 11 days before filing for divorce she had won $1.3 million in the lottery. She didn't disclose this at all during the divorce proceedings in an effort to keep the winnings all to herself, as he would have received half under California law. When the ex-husband took this to court the judge said she had violated state asset disclosure laws and gave all of her winnings to him. Her law apparently said that if she had said something during the divorce, it's possible she might have been able to keep all of it or come to some agreement. But because of what she did, she lost it all. Here is a more detailed article about the whole thing.